This is Calibos, and we are playing Project Ozone 3. So, I discovered a weird thing. I was doing Certus quartz, looking at Certus quartz. I was trying to craft something, and I was out of Certus quartz. I'm like, well, I've been making Certus quartz forever. How come I'm out of Certus quartz? And then I noticed that I have 132,000 Certus quartz dust. So, I started tracking down everything, and it took me quite a little while to figure this out, actually. So, this chest, I moved it. It was right there. And apparently the molecular assembler was outputting into the chest, which is a blue chest, which means it was going straight into the sag mill over here. Which means I have made a stupid amount of Certus quartz dust for basically no reason. So we are rebuilding that. I was playing around with the idea of going back into Woot. And so yeah, I was trying to make an export bus. That's what I was trying to make. Now I can make the export bus. But I was thinking about going into Woot, and then I realized, or remembered anyway, that Woot's going to be a super hassle. So this is what? Green. Enchantment sorter. So that should be pulling all of... Oh, here it is. Okay, so I was actually not making an export bus. I was making capacity cards. Go. Capacity cards. Boom and boom. And then we're gonna fuzzy card. Fuzzy. Why do we not have fuzzy cards in the auto crafting setup? That's weird. So we want to export those. Because I apparently ran out of room and never finished setting up the rest of these. But there we go. So we would just like to get rid of these. Leggings, chest plate, boots, osmium boots. So the other interesting thing that's going on is because it's Halloween, we're starting to get, what is that, tombstone. We're starting to get these, the Halloween lollipops. You only get them close to Halloween, and they have randomly different effects. What makes that irritating, besides the random effects, is if we go into the advancements and we look at this, it actually requires you to taste 5 different lollipops. But you can only get them during Halloween. Voodoo Poppet. Preservation magic. So yeah, that's kind of a hassle and a half. leather, osmium, iron, steel, sword. I think that we are basically good as far as that goes. Shovel. We haven't really needed it recently, but we've got a lot of like true sight stuff. Is this one of the ones that we haven't used? Preservation. I think this is the one of the ones we haven't used. There we go. Death will not be enough. Sweet. So what we have been doing is we have been doing this stuff, which is Galacticraft. Where is Galacticraft? Okay. So we've got an oxygen collector. We've got an electric compressor. Now we need a refinery and an oxygen compressor. So let's make this. This is going to require a furnace. It's going to require some copper canisters. And that will give us a refinery. So I think that we technically have rocket fuel already. So let's place this. See how it's weird? It's kind of like it wants input on that and now power's at the top. That gives us the refinery. So we'll actually need an oxygen compressor now. The blue ender pouch. That's how I was finding the thing. I was just opening and closing it and watching for lids to make sure there weren't any extra weird things. I know, it's bizarre. So oxygen compressor. So we just want the regular oxygen compressor. So we'll need one of these. One of those. Oops. Like so. And we'll need some more steel. Are we... Let's feed some more steel through because we're going to need a ton of it. Alright. Chuck that in there. Oxygen compressor. We just want the regular oxygen compressor. Go. So what this does is this collects oxygen and it's going to output it here. So what the oxygen compressor does is it takes this oxygen. Let's see, I think we can do it. So power, let's see, we placed it like this, so we'll need to place it like that. And then we can take a fluid conduit. Oh, I've got one. Do that. So now it's got oxygen. So now if we put a tank in here, it will swap out oxygen for that. So that gives us the oxygen compressor. Now I'm inclined to simply take the oxygen compressor with us once we've filled a couple of tanks, so that we can just fill tanks as we go. Oxygen storage, it basically is a tank for oxygen. So we'll need tanks. Tanks are actually relatively easy. We need some red wool. Red wool, red wool. Wool. Give us 100. Perfect. So oxygen tank, and I think it wants the red ones, the heavy tanks. 2, 3. Let's make sure that we are completing our quests here. So that gives us the tank. Wanted 2. Now we want the oxygen storage. That gives us the oxygen storage, which for the most part we'll probably not be using, because we'll just be able to pipe as much oxygen as we want directly to wherever we're going. So I'm not super worried about that. So let's go ahead and make some more tanks. And I'd like to have 4 of them, if possible. One, 2, we need 4 more of these tins. 1, 2. So these are, I think, the biggest ones, the biggest tanks. So you'll notice we put these in here. It's going to go ahead and slowly fill. And it is pretty slow, but it does go quickly as far as, well, it doesn't go quickly. It takes about the same amount of time to fill them. So we'll probably also want, well, we could either take this with us or just make another one. Compressor. So what about an advanced? Oh, wait. It requires magnesium. Do we have magnesium? Magnesium. So let's see if we can process this down. So the way we process magnesium is going to be smelting it. We can pulverize it. Alright, so let's export this into blue, and we'll at least get some doubling out of it. So now if we look for magnesium, we can take this stuff, and what do we get from this? So we can make crystal binder, magnesium ingots. So hopefully that's the same magnesium that we're going to need. Oops. Hopefully I also learn how to spell. You know, I have a nasty suspicion that it's not going to be cross-compatible. Let's go to our red chest, which is here. Let's see, we want an interface. Come on, give me the interface. Oh, I know what the problem is. I am the problem. I am actually the problem. I should label my stuff. Wouldn't that be fancy? So where's the fluix dust? Oh, of course it is, because it's trying to output desperately. It's actually out cooking or grinding it faster than it outputs. How weird is that? But it just has to finish this section, and then we'll be back in business. All right. So we 2 channels. 21 channels. We should be fine to do this. Everything should be great. Alright, perfect. So back to Galacticraft. So like I said, my assumption is basically going to be that we can't make the better stuff for now. Let's see, we are going to definitely need a NASA workbench and a fuel loader. Fuel loader. Just want the regular fuel loader. So we need some copper. Grab this. Do we not have more copper? Sure, we have more copper. Another electric compressor, so we'll do that. Get that going. Chuck that in there. Is this tank is full? So let's go ahead and store our backup tanks in the system. Yeah, it's providing more than enough to fill the tanks, keep the supply up. Honestly, what I could do is Let's make a tank, like a big tank. A tank's tank. Throw that here. Ender conduit. And then do that. Okay, so we'll say this is extract only. And this is insert only. So this is going to fill. Yeah, so there we go. I'm not. Yeah, it's now filling the tank and filling the big tank, and I have just mysteriously lost a thing. Was there not a second tank? Tank. Oh, there it is. That's actually a good call. We should that's the full one. This one is also full. And so now we should be wearing 2 full ones. And this is the Galacticraft thing. So you'd think that our armor is good enough. The answer is it is not. We need a bunch of stuff. So we need the NASA Workbench. So we'll need 1 more lever and a crafting table. Lever. Crafting table. I like how it's just those simple components, and then you get this weird thing. So once we put the blueprint in, we just put the parts in, and then that gives us everything that we need. So now we need the tier 1 schematic. There are a lot of rockets. Tier 1 rocket. I think that it should. Either way. So that gives us the NASA Workbench, which gives us the Space Emergency Kit. What is a Space Emergency Kit? Which gives us light oxygen tank. I think it also gave us the magnesium dust, can of food, light oxygen tank. Fluid pipe we got from a previous quest, compressed. Alright. So that. Alright. Well, we've got that. Next step, we'll need the thermal padding. Okay, so thermal padding. So we're going to need basically our standard 27. Almost there. 7. Alright, we're going to make this and then we're going to call it. Must be careful not to, like, click randomly everywhere. Pants. Boots. And, okay. Well, apparently I can't count. Thermal padding. So it looks like that. So we look like some sort of 80s futuristic prisoner. But we have the thermal padding, which is good because apparently it gets cold in space. Oh, sweet. We have oxygen gear. We must have got that in the emergency thing. We've also got a red parachute and an oxygen mask. So were we actually in space, we could breathe. I think that the tier 1 rocket actually tier 1. Ah, yeah, there we go. So we need the heavy duty plate, the nose cones, and this stuff, and that will give us the tier 1 rocket. So if we want the best storage space, we're also going to need 3 oak chests. So we can just slap that in there, and you'll notice that it does not keep it. So we'll have to build all of the things and then put it in. But we'll take care of that next episode. I hope you liked this episode. If you did, leave me a like. If you didn't, don't. Questions, comments, concerns can all go below. You guys are fantastic. I really appreciate you sticking with me. I mean, we're like a million episodes in. I mean, if a million is like 170-ish or something like that. 169 something. I have no idea what episode we're on. I'll know when I'm numbering it. But I'm glad you guys came. If you enjoyed it, leave me a like. If you didn't, don't. Simple as that. Questions, comments, concerns can all go below. And you folks have a fantastic night.